Now, one more question that is related to paper two also. There are welfare schemes and how it can be helpful to uh, weaker sections of the society. So there are multiple
Yes.
flagship schemes of the government of India. How did you prepare for this, especially for your paper two?
So yes, as you very rightly pointed out that we do not have to read each and every scheme by the government. Only some flagship schemes need to be read, like Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is there, Skill India Mission is there, Digital India is there. Then I think Stand Up India and Startup India scheme is there. So you just make a note of each and every. Firstly, list down the flagship schemes which you think that they are important enough to be asked in mains examination. Then you list down these schemes in one line. For introductions you write a very specific aim of the scheme, like for Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, it is making all weather connectivity roads in rural areas. So that is a very crisp sentence that defines all the scheme. You mention one line introductions for the scheme. You write what work has been done. You write the issues which are pointed out by various committees. Need to know about any flagship scheme, and that is what the UPSC generally asks. UPSC never ask any technical question regarding scheme, how it will help to larger section of the society, or how the broad objectives of the schemes will be achieved. Like there was a question on smart cities
Mhm.
mission, and it was that three C's which are very core to the scheme, and UPSC asked that only. UPSC did not go in technical details. So I think knowing the broad objectives and
Sections of the society as mentioned in the syllabus. Now coming to one more paper, that is paper three, which is sort of dynamic because of the subjects involved in it. There was a question, Mandar, if you remember, which is directly dealing with the public distribution system, like food grain distribution. There are leakages in that. Such kind of questions. So do you think in writing these answers, these models will work in your answer writing? These models related to something correction of these schemes.
Definitely, as I earlier mentioned, that if the models are being fit organically in the answers, the flow of answer is not getting disturbed, then definitely quoting the case studies will help, and it will show you a depth of the knowledge. But if you are reading too much of the resources for collecting these case studies, and you collect so much case studies that you end up writing nothing about them. So that as I said, the cost benefit analysis is very less. So if any coaching is providing you any crisp material, then you can go for it, like collecting a case studies. And I will advise that not more than 5 or 4 case studies should be collected, because our mind gets confused which case study to write and which case study not to write. So that will be more helpful for the students, as well as for the questions like the PDS, as you mentioned. Factual information definitely will help, like how much target or how much storage is there in PDS, what targets are we exceeding, are we very successful on the 3 A's, that is accessibility, affordability, availability. So that keywords always helps a lot
Yes.
while it comes to very specific questions like PDS. So that will be advice to students, that do not run after the case studies, do not run after collecting the case studies. Just know 4 or 5 case studies and use them at multiple levels. That will be more cost benefit. That will be more cost benefit to you.
Now there is a portion, Mandar, which is in paper three related to government budgeting, and every year, sometimes one, sometimes two questions appears for that. So what was your strategy? Did you read the budget, or how did you manage to do questions related to government budgeting?
So, so there are two things. One is government budget, and second is economic survey of government. So for the budget purpose, I used to take out the printout of budget speech by Honorable Finance Minister, and I used to watch the video and then write any specific points which are mentioned in the budget. And that is a 2 hour exercise, but that gives you very in-depth understanding about the budget, because in many of the times, Finance Minister explains the logic behind any government scheme which is newly being introduced, or a finance minister explains how they are exceeding any specific targets. And I think that suffix for the government budget. When it comes to economic survey, I used to read volume 1 directly from the survey and take out my own notes. That helped me a lot to understand Indian economy in its depth, as well as to consider comprehensive analysis of some economic issues. Secondly, and I'll advise students to go through volume 1 of economic survey, because it will give you very in-depth analysis, and sometimes questions directly are picked from the economic surveys. So that was my strategy for government budgeting as well as economic survey.